Yo, we're live. And if you ever wondered what it's like to be an All American and trying to figure out the NIL at the same time, this show is for you. I've been thinking about this moment all week long. And if you're watching Coffee with Brand&Athlete, and today is your day because it's about visibility, it's about building legacy. And you know what? I have someone who I'm really excited about. She's joining me today. This is someone who's just named All American. On the court, she's a dog, and also off the court. I think she's just getting started off the court. Alanis Hamilton. How's the week been?
It's been pretty good.
Alanis.
Been playing tennis, practicing, traveling a lot.
Okay. We're gonna get into the show. We're gonna talk about NIL. How excited are you as an All American athlete to talk about NIL, the season, the regular college season done? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited, very interested in exploring this new territory.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, if you're joining a live stream for the first time, what we want you to do this is there's a comment box. It doesn't matter if you are on a cell phone or you're on the web. There's actually a comment, and the great thing about live streams, Lannis, is it's like interactive. People in the chat can talk to you directly, ask you questions, me, of course, as well. So drop us your location. Where are you guys watching this show from? We want to know. Alanis wants to know, like, where are you watching this show from? Drop your location. Where are you broadcasting from?
Right now I'm in Dallas, Texas,
Okay.
so I'm with my parents at, I guess, where they live, so the home base.
Okay. The town to let go one of the greatest basketball players on the planet right now, but we're not going to get into that today as we're talking about you. That's cool. All right, I'm in Texas as well. It's a small world. So let's talk about this. So, we're going to talk about NIL today. We're going to get into your whole story, but let's back up for a second. Not everyone watched your story before. If you haven't seen it, you have to go and watch on our YouTube channel, get to know. And we talk about your backstory, like how you got started, who inspired you, but let's just talk for a minute for those who haven't seen it. You guys have got to go watch that if you haven't. I want to talk about how you got started. You were just named All American. First of all, congratulations. What did that moment mean to you?
Uh, Honestly, I had no idea at the beginning because I didn't really, of course, it was a big goal of mine, but I didn't pay attention to like what regards I had to complete and like check box in order to get to be an All-American. So I was just playing match by match, and I mean it's awesome and I'm super excited.
So, how did it feel? What was that moment like? You've been playing this game since you were like, what, 8, 9 years old?
Yeah, I mean it felt great. I was in a little bit of a shock and I was like just really happy that I get to say I guess I'm an All-American.
Man, that's a special feeling, right? That's an elite club. You can't buy your way in, right?
Yeah. Mhm. I guess yeah, you have to you have to be pretty decent, I would say, but I mean, I don't I don't focus on it as like this is like if it's the end of the world if I don't become an All-American. It was just more of like a great opportunity and great achievement.
Yeah. I love that. Are you really big? I'm really big on celebrating wins, big and small. This is a win, right? And there's a win is a win, right? So how did you celebrate, whether it's in your mind or with your family or your friends? Like, one, who was the person that you spoke to about it, and how did you celebrate or just recognize the tremendous honor?
I think the first person was probably my dad that I like made aware of, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, look, I'm actually an All-American," and it was a really cool moment because it was like I got to share it with him, but I don't think I don't know if I really, like, celebrated it, but
What?
I
Okay, this is a hot take. You're
yeah.
wilding right now. Are you kidding me? This woman just won All American honors, man. I wish I had the ice in the veins that you have. Shout out to you. Cause I'd be, you know me. Anybody knows me knows I'd be calling and texting everyone I know.
Yeah, I
So
think
talk
it's actually more of the opposite. I was really nice. I had a few friends congratulate me and, like, people I've run into have all mentioned it, and it's been really nice of them.
No, it's really cool to be recognized. I'd probably go get a shirt made, do something that's just over the top. You know what I mean? Just doing hashtag doing the most. That's me. No, I love that about you. That's really cool. And talk to you. You said you talked to your dad, right? I don't know how tennis is specifically, but like in the track world where I came up through the youth league, your parents are driving you to practice. I had a coach for the biggest year that I made my biggest gain. My parents were busy at the time working and picked me up every day for practice. And so, usually in the Olympic sports, it's like your parents, but they're also kind of like your sport partner, if that makes sense. Like the person you're talking through everything that you're going with, your ups, downs, the highs, the lows. Describe that relationship, and then just talk to me like, what is that like? Being able to share that moment after probably all these years of driving around the country in a minivan, going to tournaments.
Yeah, definitely, growing up, my parents took me to almost every tournament, and I would say it got more I started out traveling more with my dad more in the beginning and, like, as I was developing and he was able to watch and learn more and more about tennis and was actually able to help me recognize things on court that I couldn't see as much, especially if a coach wasn't able to travel with me, which was very helpful. And then as I got older and my younger sister also started playing tennis, my parents had to divide their time more equally, so I would
Divide
go
and
with my
conquer.
mom. Yeah, I would go with my mom sometimes, and it was actually really nice because she more like, of course, she knew how to keep track of score, and she could also see, like, certain stuff, certain patterns, but for the most part, she was just more of a supporter and, like, would help me with anything I needed. So it's just really nice having them on the road with me.
Yeah, I love that. It's really big to have that support, and especially with your sister playing a rising star as well on the junior scene as well. So shout out to your sister, and your mom and dad actually.
Mhm.
Let's talk about this though. First of all, first of all, say hi to the chat. I know this is your second live stream, guys. I'm gonna say what's up, chat. I love the chat. Welcome, chat. We've had some people pull up here. First of all, you say hi, and then you ask them where are they watching from.
Hey guys, what's up, chat? Where are you guys watching from?
I love it. Did you ever feel like you'd be saying that? I'm sure you see some streamers in your feed. I know you're big on Instagram, and now you are a two-time streamer.
Yeah, never would have thought.
Man, you're gonna be like I show. You're gonna be like bigger than him in tennis, like walking around. I don't know if you know this. He has like this camera. I think it's like a $15,000 setup. Because if you notice, he's live all over the world. I see that. That's gonna be you at tennis matches. Down the road.
Hey, you never know, maybe.
All right, we have somebody in the chat. First of all, shout out to the chat. Patrice, I don't want to butcher your last name. She said Chapel Hill. So you know what? You have a guest come up, pull up from Chapel Hill.
Chapel
Would you like
Hill.
to say something to your people? Pull it up.
Well, thank you so much for joining this. It really means a lot. Clearly, you guys are supporting me and my development, so I truly appreciate it.
Love that. Love the support. Love the support. Shout out to everybody. Pull it up. If you just pull it up now, I'm Jay Hicks. This is Brand and Athletes live uh, coffee with Brand and Athlete. I'm Jay Hicks, the host. And although I typically would be drinking coffee, the show just have to take the backstory here, was like just having regular conversations, right? Like a normal back and forth. And normally I am a huge coffee person. Well, it's in Texas. It's already like 90 degrees. So instead, I'm up on the water train tonight. I, would your trainer approve of the water over the coffee on my hydration plan?
It would, for sure.
All right,
Maybe
we're
some
gonna get back.
electrolytes.
Yeah. All right, so I want to talk about your love for the game, your passion, right? There's you play so much. We were just talking before we went live. Just today, you were able to play, so that I can just hear the deep love for the game just dripping off of your words. When was that moment that you fell in love, that you had this passion, and you thought, man, like this is kind of what I want to do?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I was always into anything that was sport related, so I went around playing all the different sports, and tennis was one of those that was more difficult to keep me entertained because it was an individual sport. So, but luckily I had my first coach, Cole Reeves, who was able to teach me more how to focus for more than like 5 minutes at a time. And I think that the more and more I played, I learned to love the game more over time. And I think once I got good enough to play my first tournament, I realized how much I loved competing, and the fact that it's a good thing and a bad thing that tennis is such individualized, but I could at least determine my fate in the match, whether I won or lost. It was going to be all based on me, and I knew
Mhm.
that whatever I did, if I put in the work, I could ultimately change the result. So
So you like that. You like the fact that it comes down to you, right? You're the person charging the net.
yeah, I would say I do like having the kind of complete control over what I'm doing.
Yeah. So what's one thing that people don't know about your journey?
I think a big one would be that I played competitive table tennis
Wait, what?
because yeah.
Okay, yeah, we had an hour-long production live stream. Go check it out. Get to know Alanis. And this never came up. I literally have a table tennis in my living room, or what used to be my dining room. Talk to me about that. How long did you play? How good were you?
Yeah, so my dad is a national table tennis coach, so
Wait,
ever
your
since the
dad is?
yeah, my dad is, yeah. He played
Okay.
professionally
This
as
this is
well.
the guys, this is just a night of learning new things just a few minutes in. This is amazing. Go ahead. I love table tennis.
Yeah, so I think since the day I could even, like, walk, stand, he had me with the table tennis racket in my hand, and I was either sitting on the table or on this stand just trying to hit back and forth with him. So I always play table tennis here and there, and I give it a lot of credit for my hand-eye coordination and my skills at the net as well in tennis.
Okay.
And then when I was 12, I actually qualified for the US national team in table tennis.
Wow.
So,
How
yeah, it
was
was
that?
a
How did that
big
feel?
part of my I mean, it was such a shock because I really didn't practice all that much, and the players I was able to beat were full-time table tennis players, and I think just because
Wait.
I
So wait. Was this juniors or was this like the
this is
senior?
juniors. Yeah,
Okay.
this is juniors.
Okay. All right.
Because
Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, I think just tennis overall, I trained tennis full time since I was probably 7 years old, and then I mean, not full time, but majority of the time as my main sport. And
Okay.
then, when I was about 12, I started doing virtual school, online school
When
to
you're
devote
12?
more time. Yeah,
Wow.
when I was young. But then I pretty much it was just because I was missing way too much school in
Sure.
public school, and I was getting in trouble for not attending class. So, had to resort to online, but yeah,
That's
table
awesome.
tennis was a big part.
So how good are you? That's something so that people wouldn't know about you, that you're a drop dead tennis player and table tennis.
Yes, little secret hidden talent.
I love it. I love it. See, I knew there was more to you than I knew. So I love that. Um, First of all, I gotta ask you this. What's been the hardest moment of your career, right? We know you're coming off this great season. You guys, won the conference. You go on a run, a crazy run that like you're in the epicenter of, and you guys go all the way to Waco, go to nationals. That's the high. What's been some of the hardest moments, and how did you get through it?
I would definitely say the hardest moments was just the travel and being away from home so much,
Mm,
especially when I was about like 16
okay.
and I was traveling across the globe, going to Paris, going to London. Um, but I think it was, of course, an amazing experience getting to go all across the different countries, but it was very, very difficult to be away from home so long and alone, pretty much alone, just traveling with a USTA coach, just not getting to see my family, my
Mm.
friends, but it was an awesome experience at the same time.
And how has that affected, your appreciation for your family, that you were gone away so young to chase this dream?
Yeah, I mean, I I appreciate them so much more now because I never really realized how big of a role they play in my life, and I think it's like they almost, like, control my happiness. Of course, I wanna do well in tennis, but if I have the wins and I have no one to share it with, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Right, right. I love that. Okay. So that's very interesting. I think that's one of the things about tennis. I'd also put golf up there, and I'd put some of the like elite IMG Academy, right? Or some of those kind of elite
Mhm.
circles that have some of the similarities things. Let me ask you this. I always have this thing that I call the look up moment, right? And the look up moment is like when life knocks you down and you're on your back and you can't get up yet, but you can look up. And I always say, if you can look up, you can get up. When was that look up moment for you? And how did you pull through?
I mean, I think there's a period of time where it was about the same time where I was struggling a little bit. I think I didn't win a tournament for, like, a year and a half, I think, and I was doing pretty well in doubles, but I made 6 or 7 doubles finals and had not been able to win a title, and I think that was a real frustrating moment where I was like, it was a look up moment where I was like, "I'm clearly right there and am so close to being able to get a title," but it was definitely a struggle.
A year and a half, man, that is a run. How did you stay in it, right? There's always the time. I always say that a lot of people quit right
Yeah.
before the greatness hits, right? Like it's a day or it's a 2 weeks beforehand. What led you to say and have the belief in yourself that you could turn things around?
Yeah, I mean, like like I was saying before, like my family was such a big part of helping me go through these moments, but I think at the end of the day, like my love for the game was still strong. Like I still really enjoyed playing even though there was tough losses, but I do think that like my personality just I'm one of those people that won't ever give up and won't ever back down, so if I put my mind to something, then I'm gonna do it.
So you're stubborn. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I need your sister, little
Exactly.
sister's number. I bet you she has some good stories.
For sure.
No, that's great. And I want to talk to you about this, right? As we start talking a little bit about your brand. But look, because we have to keep it real, guys. Like there are D1 athletes right now who've never had a single brand DM. And not because they're not talented, but because they're not as visible. It's what I call a visibility crisis, right? And like for you, Alanis, you're killing it on the court. But what has building a brand off the court look like so far for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to do my best to put myself out there, trying to be seen more because I know that like my on-court game is pretty entertaining if I do say so myself, but I do I am trying to expand beyond just like on court, but trying to make myself known off court as well. But it's been difficult because I'm not exactly sure how, but yeah, working on it.
Yeah, we're gonna cover that tonight. And first of all, shout out to you, right? Because it takes a lot of courage to come on a live stream. Like right now, we're live. We have people on, they're watching. You have no idea. We've talked generally about what we're doing, but shout out to you because I love the start. Like I'm like one of those people. I love the process, kind of like how you love tennis and working on your backhand and working on different things in your game. I love the start because I feel like sometimes we focus so much on like the 876 step, but like the
Yeah,
first one is the most difficult, right? And you're here
exactly.
tonight. So we're literally starting. You're already starting. For those if you're watching, Alanis, her first assignment from me. I don't know if she was happy with me. I'm not sure. You can say it was like, hey, I need you to do this video. And this video is an announcement video. And we're gonna get into the video a little bit later. But one of the things I'm so huge because it's like you standing there. We don't have I like right now, I have this nice light. I've got, microphone, I've got, colors behind me, I've got this set. But for you, it's like your declaration really for yourself that you're starting this journey. So that's why I give you so much kudos because there's a lot of people that can't stand there, and do that. What was that like for you?
Definitely got pushed out of my comfort zone there. Was not a big fan of having wanting to like doing it, but I got it done and I it's part of developing, so I did do it.
And I love it. It's like, that there's that saying, I can't remember who said that, like, great people do right regularly what average people do occasionally. And your ability to get outside of your zone. So when I got the video, I said, all right, we got something here. We have something here because as a content creator, I know how difficult that is. And just doing this show and starting to do a podcast, my third one. But each time it's not always easy. So I have so much respect for you and love what you're doing. I want to talk about this, right? Because one of the things about creating content is most creators, and I see this with a lot of student athletes, think it's about content frequency. And it's really also about consistency of identity, right? Like posting one solid piece that shows like who you are is better than like seven random pieces so that people follow your story and that the content creator isn't just posting but telling a story. Talk to me about your journey of understanding who you are, because I always feel like creating content is going on a self discovery of like who you are, what you want to do, and that is not easy. What has that been like for you in this process over this first year at UNC Chapel Hill?
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly still trying to figure out exactly who I am, but I think that I obviously tennis is a huge part of my life, so it's going to be part of my brand, I guess, but I think one of the biggest parts is like figuring out what exactly it is I want. And I think obviously I'd like to help others like maybe come up with some drills or like just see certain things that I'm working on or tips. Like I think that that'd be more of something that I would be more into doing.
Yeah. Okay. And if you're joining in, you guys know I love the chat. Shout out to the chat for sticking with us. This is a great crew we have. We're here. We're talking about branding, NIL. We're going to build out. We're going to talk about content. We're going to help her figure out like what are the first 30, 60, 90 days like in a plan. So shout out to the chat for showing up and showing out. So I really appreciate you guys. I want to talk to you about this, right? One of the biggest things that I run into and why I actually started the show is like I kept getting the same questions from professional athletes that I work with, college athletes. Many people know I worked and was head of social media and content at Baylor Athletics for a long time and NBC Universal for a long time before that. And one of the biggest things is people call me and say, Jay, I'm not growing. And so I go look at their account. And what I see is like a lot of people, it's just kind of like in tennis, they're just not hitting enough balls, right? And they're not getting enough reps. And we're gonna talk about that, right? Like some people think like posting once a week or once a month or twice a month is gonna get it. And we're gonna really dig down and talk about your content, your community, and consistency. Because I think those are like the big C's of what I call it. So let me tell you guys this. I think that this one of the big things about NILs, there's so much that's not told to student athletes. And our conversation tonight is to unlock that, to help you go, because I think a lot of students like yourself, right? Like what I heard from you just say is that you're confused. You're like, I want to build a community. I don't want to go out and buy followers. You want to build community. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, have you thought about what kind of community you want to build around you and not just followers, but building supporters?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like pretty much anyone that loves tennis. Like I've already had like quite a few younger junior players, which I'm happy to see following me. So I think maybe the younger generation as well that are getting into tennis and like wanting to learn more. So maybe that.
Okay. So really, so basically, because we're just gonna build this out, you're kind of answering a little bit of this yourself, right? So you want to really help junior tennis players all over the world, right? And I would assume maybe because a lot of athletes play multiple sports, so also
Mhm.
just
Maybe
athletes.
just athletes in general. Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so let's focus on them. So let's talk about like the first 100 people that comment on your post, because one of the things I see from a lot of people is that they'll have people post the post, they'll have comments, and people don't answer them, right? Because how many times have you posted before and nobody's commented? Have you ever had that happen?
I mean, I guess when I was first starting, when I was younger, but now I would say my friends at least help out in the comment section.
Yeah. And so you've commented on other people's comment on their content, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things I look at is when people are commenting, they're actually investing, right? Because it's easy to just keep scrolling. Like you don't have to post, you don't have to comment. So one of the things I think is really making your community members seen, and feel heard. And so one of the things, if you guys are watching, and this is true for you, Alanis, as well, is is making sure that you reply to people, right? And doing it as quickly as you can. But we understand you're at practice, right? You might post, go away for 4 hours. So we understand that. But I think that is one of the biggest things is commenting on other people's content and also replying to your own, because I think that's one of the biggest things that you can do for engagement. Do you feel like talk to me about how you feel? How do you feel about replying to comments? Do you feel like you do it um in a timely manner for your schedule, or what's your experience been there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't comment very much on posts, more
Okay.
for like, I don't know, maybe digital footprint or just whatever. But I do more on my friends, just like, yeah, like you were saying, as support. But as far as like on my own posts, I kind of, when I make a post, I like to go away from it for a while so I don't have to think about it. Have a little bit of post anxiety. So
I
I,
would jump in right here. Yo,
yeah,
I call that posted and ghosted.
it's
So
exactly what I
go
do.
ahead, go ahead.
I actually just might turn off the notifications because I just don't really want to see it afterwards.
Why is it? Let's talk through that. Why do you do that? A lot of people do. It's not uncommon, first of all.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like I don't really wanna think about it afterwards because I get self-conscious of like, "Oh, I could have done this better, or I should have posted this," but I think for me, it's just easier to kinda give it a minute and, like, go do something else or just keep myself from being so distracted and, like, locked in on who's seeing my posts and stuff.
Yeah. I think that's very common. And when I was originally, getting started content game, I felt the same way. So that's why I relate to the posting and ghosting. And one of the things that I really want everyone, if you're a content creator, to really do is really be unselfish. And it's almost counterintuitive, right? Because to be a great athlete, you kind of have to be selfish, right? Selfish with your time, your energy, your focus. Every athlete knows this. So here's the thing about social. I would, as much as you can, like lean into other people, like comment, just to give you an easy thing, like maybe commenting when you're on like 3 times a day, 3 or 4 times a day. Even it's just like if you, because what do you ever do this? You see a piece of content, you think it's cool, you think it's funny, it doesn't matter who it is, but you just keep going, right? Like I would say, take a few seconds. You don't have to write a paragraph, but like comment on other people's um content. And what you want to do is develop a group of people like that you support them, and hopefully they support you, but don't do it out of the guise of getting something out of it. It's like your ability to say, hey man, you know what, I see you, I know you took time to create this content, this, right? Because you've posted before, so like how many times have you sat there freaking out about the photo or the video and the lighting and writing the copy, and then you're like, I'm exhausted. Okay, get published like 30 minutes later. Does that sound about right?
Yep, exactly.
So here's the thing: show folks love and do it just out of like, I'm just doing this to show love to people who are creating content. Because what you want to do is like comment on other people's, and hopefully they comment back on you, but that's not the goal of it. It's just really to be selfless that way. Like even on my stories, I really try when I'm going through, and I see people doing amazing things or they're having their moments, like I send them a quick DM like, hey man, congrats, so proud of you. But I don't do it out of wanting anything. It's really an engagement. And you'd be surprised, even personally, just sharing. So I've had guests on this show, people that I've met in this business, just for literally like I didn't want anything. I was just commenting just in the moment about what is actually good about the comment. So I mean about the content. So then it's authentic, it's real, and you just go from there. So what are your thoughts on that kind of as just a general philosophy moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I've never thought about it before, but it sounds like a great idea, and I do agree that it would be more like supporting one another, and I do really think it should be genuine. So,
Yeah, and that's the key. Just only do it if you feel it's natural, it works for you. And again, if people support you, great. But more likely than not, your audience and theirs may not cross over. So that person may not end up liking your audience. Remember, your community is young athletes and tennis players around the world. So I love that. All right, so I have talked to you about this. I love is you're going to go on shows. We're going to talk about winning the conference. We talked about that on the other live stream. We talked about you being named All American. What has been a moment this past year that challenged you and forced you to grow?
yeah, I mean, college was a huge adjustment. It's nothing like I've ever experienced before, so I definitely grew in that aspect and being I would never say I was never like a team player, but being on a team is so different. And because tennis is such an individual sport, it was just a completely different atmosphere and experience all around.
And how challenging was that, right? Because you chat like you were saying earlier, and we talked about if you guys have got to go check out the Get to Know You. I promise you, we talked for an hour. If you think you know everything about her, I talked to her for an hour and I still learned some new things today. So pull up to that live stream. But you traveled the world individually with your coaches, and then you go to this team environment. Team environment completely different. The scoring, right? Winning team titles, going to the NCAA. Talk to me about that. Like, what was the shift? What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, definitely just the aspect of like playing next to one of your teammates, having a coach on the court is just very different. There was one match where I was getting really frustrated and kind of didn't really like acknowledge my coach as much as I should have, and that was definitely a learning point for me, just as far as like communication. And then just overall, the it was just a huge adjustment I had to make, just getting used to playing next to people and, like, not getting distracted. Like, I would start to look around sometimes, look at the scoreboard instead of focusing as much on my core individually and taking care
Right.
of what I needed to do. So I think that was probably the toughest challenge.
And how did you get through it? Like, how did it force you to grow?
Yeah, I mean, I I got way more experience of, like, being able to kind of multitask, like, being able to cheer and, like, look at my teammates, go over and high five them, and still be able to come and, like, lock in and play my point on like, focus on much at the same time. And I think I grew so much maturity-wise, like, as, like, my behavior on court because I didn't wanna show my teammates if I was frustrated
Yeah.
or if I was starting or I missed an easy shot, I didn't want to show them that I was, like, losing, so I think I also grew in that aspect.
Okay. Okay. I love that. And let me ask you this: what was the most joy that you had on or off the court over your freshman year?
Gosh, I mean, there were so many, like, I love my team so much, and there were so many moments where I could say I was so happy. Of course, we won ACCs, I was super happy. We qualified for indoors, I was so happy. We qualified for NCAAs, I was really happy, but I just love spending the time with them, and honestly, every single moment is so enjoyable just as a team.
Yeah, and that's something that's is totally different, right? From like juniors and
Exactly.
and so you get there, you have these great moments, you have your coach, right? You have your university. What's that like? Because it's so different. You're kind of, with the Olympic sports, you're kind of a little bit of a mercenary, right? It's like the way in track as well as
Yeah.
swimming, and then now you're unified behind this university that obviously we know UNC Chapel Hill, one of the great all-time brands. What is that like? Wearing the powder blue.
I mean, it's just such an incredible feeling, an amazing opportunity, and I'm just really grateful that I get to wear the Carolina blue, and it's just so nice to know I have support in every single aspect, like the facility, the coaches, my teammates, the classroom, the professors there, every single staff member and person there just seems so willing to help you. So it's really amazing.
Okay. I love that. I want to move into a part before we get into the 30, 60, 90-day NIL. And I wanted to open it up a time for you to ask some questions. Like, what are the biggest questions that you have? Let's say the top 3 to 4 so questions that you have coming out of your freshman. You had this great season on the court, but now we're focused on your brand.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think like the UNC tennis page has helped my profile be seen a lot more. I think I saw the stat where there was 50,000 views of my profile. So
Yeah.
obviously it's getting around. It's just like what would make them want to follow me more, or just like support my journey.
So your question is, what would make people who've come across stay and come back as like returners to returning
Yeah,
visitors?
exactly.
Okay, I love that. That's a great question. So that's one of your big questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I would say first of all, it's a great question, and the fact that you're thinking that way just tells me that you're headed in the right direction. I think the greatest thing is consistency, and one of the things, which is also the toughest thing, is having consistent content. And one of my big things that I learned from a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, is documenting, not creating. And we're going to break it out in your plan. But one of the things we want to do is just how can we content? capture around the things you're already doing, right? You're already traveling with your team, right? You're already going to practice. You're already probably doing some sort of self-care, right? Whether it's in the training room, hydrating, getting a smoothie. Um, and then there's your actual drills and practices. So I think one of the things you can do, because if people are coming to your page from the school account, that means one of two things. That means that they're probably a proud alum or fan, and they love Carolina and they want to follow you. So what can you give them as like a breadcrumb that they can follow the journey of an all-American athlete, tennis player who reps the school that they love? I don't know if that's my thing one. And I want to stop and make sure you can answer. What do you think? What questions do you have on that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense. Like, more specifically, would it be like making like a day in the life? I've seen multiples of those, or like the drills we do, or would it be like that type of content?
Yeah, and I would think even the day of life are great, a little bit heavier on the production side.
Yeah.
I would say to get started, I would do days where I just batch, which is like I would take a practice that I'm doing and I would either and you and I talked about this in the other live stream. The greatest people I've had on this show, I had another show called Sports Creatives Podcast. I talked to the greatest creatives in the sports industry, in the sports world. And I had that show, super successful. And everyone starts with what they have. That is like the key. So I would say use your phone. Either some people, a lot of people, we talked about Lissa Utsby. Shout out to Lissa Utsby, friend of the show, one of the all-time greats in Carolina women's basketball. And her and everyone else that I've had on the show, they literally started by either propping their phone up, and some people eventually got a cheap tripod, which if you're on TikTok, you could probably find one on TikTok Shop, and just capturing the drills that you're already doing. Like, think about this. Like this summer, you just went and practiced today. So you could just grab a tripod or put it up somewhere and just do a capture of the actual practice and then just cut up some portions of it and share some today, some what's today, Wednesday, Friday, and some Sunday. Does that make sense? Like some of the cool moments from there. Is that seem like a lift that you could consistently do?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if I yeah, I mean, it depends on the practice, I feel like, because some of it is more like live ball or like match play, which if it's match play, you can obviously just take some points and edit it together. But yeah, if you're doing like some cross courts, that's kind of it's pretty basic stuff, I would say. But yeah, for the most part, I understand, and I feel
Yeah,
like
and so
it's
you would,
something I could do.
as a tennis expert, you would pick the day that you do the
Yeah.
content capture. Does that make sense? And then in those days, you do different things. I'm really big on batching. Like even now, I literally have times when I just go and just do a bunch of content at one time. I like to try to do it all at once because if you spread it out, it feels like a heavy lift. So getting back to that day that let's say you did it once a week. Let's say you just went through and took 20 minutes and you came to practice 20 minutes early in the off season right now, and you just did four drills that you like. Like, give me four drills that you like right now off the top of your dome. What are your
Um,
four favorite drills? And what's the purpose? Like, give me that first. Like, what is the purpose of the drill? What does it work on for you? And what is the drill? I'm writing these down while you talk.
yeah, I mean, it kinda depends on what I have to work on, but, like, recently I've been doing, like, some progression stuff, some hand tossing, and, like, starting at the service line, then progressing to the baseline. That's one of my favorite drills.
And what's this drill? It's just like a ball toss. Is that what you're
It's
saying?
just like a yeah, either a ball toss or, like, someone's feeding on the other side with the racket.
Okay.
Either or, and it's, like, different progressions as well.
And what is the purpose of the drill?
The purpose would be just, like, being able to get reps and work on more, like, on the technical side, slowing things down.
Okay.
And then,
Okay, give me drill 2.
yeah, another one would be
These are your favorites. These are like if
yeah,
I give you 30 minutes, these are the ones that you're running down. No wrong answers. This is all you.
Yeah, I've actually just never thought about my favorite drills, but
Self-discovery. Do y'all remember me
yeah,
talking about that? Creating content is self-discovery. You're gonna learn what you like. You're gonna be thinking about things. I love this. Go ahead.
I mean, I also really like a pop-up volley drill. It's like where you start like low. It's for doubles. You start like low below the net, and then they'll feed, and you pop up, and you'll put away the volley. So that's another one.
Okay. I love it. Keep
And
going. I'm
then
literally taking notes.
and then I think I mean there is this new drill that I actually just learned recently at UNC, and it's like a kind of like a cross court type of game. So
Okay.
where you have to have someone else to hit with you, but you pretty much you play it out in the cross, but then once you go line, you have you have to either go to the net off of that, or the very next shot you have to go to the net. So it's just a really good grooving drill.
Okay. So is that was that 3 or 4?
I think it was
Ball toss,
3.
progression, pop up, volley drill, and across court with someone. What's our fourth one?
Fourth one, maybe like a I mean, can it be like a group like game?
Sure, it's whatever you want. It's your world.
Yeah, so I
It's your
like
brand.
there's a game called Doubles Attack where you
Doubles
have
attack.
it's usually you yeah, it's called Doubles Attack. So you need about 6 players usually at least. So have there's kind of the king side with the two players, and then the side with 4 are rotating in and out if they whether they win or lose a point, but if you win the first point, which is when you start at the baseline, then you get a volley and you have to start at the service line. And then if the side with 4 wins that point, then they get an overhead feed. So they ultimately have to win 3 points to take over the next side, to take over the team on the king side. So that's one of my favorite games.
Okay, I love that. So here's what we did in a few minutes. Literally, you just ran down your content. You just are your own content creator. So could you get to practice 20 to 30 minutes early, minus the doubles attack because that takes other people? So let's just focus on the 3 that you could run on your own. Could you set up a camera and run through these and just film just those drills? Right? And then just stop start each one of them and then just say, hey, these are 4 of my top drills, and just go one by one. That's 4 pieces of content: the ball toss, the pop-up drill, the volley, and the cross court with someone, and just demonstrate them. And then you don't even have to talk on those. Like, I'll give you an example. I follow some softball players. A lot of them right now, some of the top softball players are going into the batting cage and literally just turning a camera on and taking BP. And that's like they just go through and find that's like a 30-second reel. It's got like 50,000 views, 100,000 views. You know what I mean? So your version of the are these drills that you're doing, and you're in the lab. It's authentic, it's yours, it's what you like. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, sounds like a great plan.
And one of the other things that you could do, I like what I call light lifts, medium lifts, and heavy lifts. I think you should focus on, as we get into the next part, which is planning your content, is just starting with light lifts, right? Like small successes, small wins. Can you just turn on the camera and make a list? Like, just literally go on your phone. I'm really just show you what I'm doing. I'm actually writing your content ideas on my note screen while you're talking, right? Like, just super simple. What are 10 things that you learned this year? Or 10, yeah, give me, actually, let's do 5 off the rip. What are 5 things? We're gonna do this in real time, y'all. What is 5 new things you learned as a college freshman playing tennis and as a student athlete who also goes to class now?
Yeah.
Let's
Um,
go through it real quick. Boom. 5 things.
okay. Time
You're on
management,
what did you learn? What's the key
Um,
takeaway?
for time management?
Here's the thing, real quick, guys. This, for those of you in the chat, here's what we're doing. She's gonna figure out what she learned, and then what we're gonna do is like, what's the key takeaway? What's the insight that I can deliver as immense values to who is that to? Alanis. Who is this insight for?
The insight?
It's for your audience, those
Yeah.
youth players, right? Because some of these skills you're gonna give them, they could use in high school or junior high, right? All
Yep.
right, so let's get back to the what is the thing that you learn? Like, what's the okay, you got time in it. What's the actual thing you learned about time management?
Um, being able to balance my classes and homework along with my practices and match days.
How did you learn to do that? Did you use a tool? Did you use scheduling? Did you use Google Calendar? Like, what's the thing that helped you?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much just I mean, our school naturally, which is really nice, has 2 apps, one for school, one for the tennis. So I could just use those 2, which is Teamworks and then Canva, which is the school account. And
Absolutely.
then I would just always make sure to follow those 2 and be on top of it.
Boom. All right. What's the second one? That's one. Man, I like this. You're good.
Second one, probably communication.
What'd you learn? What is a big thing? And did you make any mistakes? Is that like a did you because we all make mistakes. Like sharing mistakes are great. Did you let's start with the mistake.
Yeah, I mean, I think I already gave the example of, like, the communication with the coach on court. Just,
Yep.
like, we haven't been together very long, obviously, so, I mean, when I was frustrated, I wanted some time alone, but he took it as, like, I didn't want him on the court, so it's just,
Right.
like, about communicating how I'm feeling and, like, what's best for me in certain situations.
Gotcha. All right. What's three?
Um,
You guys
3
in the
would
chat, you didn't know we are
be
gonna do this in real time.
yeah, I didn't, so let's
There's no
think.
wrong answers too. There's no wrong answers. This is your life. So, is there
Yeah,
anything else that you learned about sleep, about preparation? Like, what's the difference between playing? You played at an elite world level, but college is different. Not comparing them. It's just different. Is there anything you learned about your game or preparation or playing? Um, the frequency and cadence of college.
yeah, actually, I think a big one would be trying to find, like, a good word, kinda like flexibility or, like, adaptability because I'm, like, a sort of a perfectionist, and I like everything to be perfect when I'm getting ready to go out on court, but
Gotcha.
college tennis has been more of, like, you gotta go, and you just have to go right into it. We go out and play our 1 doubles set, and sometimes you'll finish quickly and have to wait around for 30 minutes for the other teams to finish or the
Okay.
other matches to finish, and then I'll go in cold in the singles match. It's just, like, adapting to different situations instead of it being, like, a perfect case scenario of how I'd want it. And I had to adapt. There was another moment where I didn't couldn't get my racket restrung, so I had to play with the older racket, so I had to adapt there too.
You're probably freaking out. What
Yeah,
was the fifth
a
one?
little bit.
I've talked to you a short period of time, but I picked some things up. All right, what's number 5?
Um, maybe leadership.
Okay, talk to me about that. What did you learn?
So our our seniors on the team were very good, and I definitely learned a lot about, like, how to be a good leader and, like, the way you should communicate with the team. And, I've also had the coaches tell me to speak up more in like, some group discussions and some certain situations to try to help me be more vocal and help the team out more and lead.
I love it. All right, I wrote all these down. All right, here's the thing. Here's the key to this. The key to your content is going to be owning your story, right? The good, the bad, the messy. I call it the messy middle. And a lot of people, they love perfection. They love the graphic that's someone spent 2 hours on and it's got three different photos of you. It's got all these different layering. But in reality, you might create three of those a year. But how many times have you looked after a big moment? Because I followed you followed you guys, and there are people who in those big moments took a photo and video on your cell phone, and it got 10x what a graphic got that came out 2 weeks later or 3 days later, because in the moment, that real time photo carried the emotion, is what I call speed to market. So you can get it out quickly and it performs so much better. A lot of people lean into the perfect graphic. I love the messy middle, which is the quick and the real and the actual. So, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So, here are the ways we could take these five things. The five things are the messy middle. Each of these are videos. These are videos. Remember, I told you you need light lift, medium lift, heavy lift. Everything can't be a medium or a high because you just don't have the bandwidth right now. And guys, just get started, because what happens is the more you do something, the more efficient, the quicker you become. So, what if you, Alanis, just turned on your camera and you just took all five of these videos, which, and I'm gonna walk you through them: time management, communication, flexibility, the keys to leadership, being vocal, and you turn those into videos. And the video could be, as an All-American at UNC, I learned that progress is more valuable than perfection. And talk about how you used to like to have everything perfect, but like, you had these moments and you learned that you have to be, like, I don't want to say good enough, but you had to be ready to go in the moment, like the time when you couldn't get your racket restrung, right? And you learned that, like, you have to be mobile, you have to be flexible, and, like, tell people your story. It's your story, so I can't tell your story as well as you can, but that's a video that is so huge, because those are the things youth players don't know about playing at college. Does that sound? And then the flexibility part, and it, like, the I think the communication piece you have, these are all what are, soft skills. And, like, I think that is so huge. One of the things that you learned is the value of interpersonal relationships, right? Talking to people, and how that you need to be able to communicate with your coaches. Would that be a video that you feel that you could just literally open up the camera, hit record, and give your idea?
Yeah, I mean, that definitely would not be my first choice, but it is a good idea, and I can see myself doing that.
So, is it these ideas of just talking on camera, or what? Like, actually, let's talk through it. What's Because here's the thing that I love. If you think about this, your greatest asset are, what are the experiences that Alanis has that no one else has, and those are your experiences. Right? Anybody can go make a great graphic of you. All right. Somebody can go right now, go pull a graphic, a photo of you, spend 2 hours and make a great graphic of you. But no one has walked in your shoes.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of like, yeah, I'm just not used to being in front of like a camera alone, especially without like a exact question being asked and an exact answer I have to it. So it's just different than what I'm used to.
That's fair, and I love you being honest about that. And maybe it's something you work up to. And if you're a parent and you're watching the show, and if you're an athlete, I would say, work on becoming uncomfortable. You're doing that. You're on this show, and I think, again, those are the things. If you think about it, and what can I do that no one else can do? Right. And I think they're thinking through those. And I think you have the insights, and the things, right? Like some of the things we're talking about, like the time management piece. Right? In high school, now you traveled and you went to school virtually, but some people who go into school in person, they have a lot of teachers and coaches running around helping them, right? In college, nobody's coming to save you, right?
Yep, exactly. You're all on
Nobody's
your own.
mom and dad aren't waking you up to go to school anymore. Can I get a witness?
Yep.
So those are the things that we talk about. So what are your things might be? Utilizing apps, right, to help you, which is time management, setting alarms for yourself, managing your schedule. And for of course, you're at a big time school, so you have Teamworks and Canva. Your average person can use their like a Google Calendar or calendar app of some sort and a note screen, right? So like sharing with people those skills, because if you don't start, it can be a lot coming at you at one time. Would you agree with that?
Yep. I
Okay,
I would
go ahead.
agree.
Sorry. Okay, so let's do this. So those are the kind of ideas. So we talk about it. I think documenting your practices, right? Everything doesn't need to be a polished piece. I think the biggest thing that I run into with college athletes before we get into your 30, 60-day, 90-day plan is that they look at the team accounts and they want their account to look at that. The challenge with that is that most people don't have the resources of an athletic department to consistently put that kind of talent out, right? Your average Power 5 program has between 5 and 12 people, a budget of anywhere from 2 to $5 million in personnel and gear, right? That's not realistic, right? However, we know that there are people on your campus and other campuses who have more followers than the school just using their phone, right? Just storytelling. You have people your age like Kai Cenat, for example, right? Who makes as much as LeBron James, just to put that into perspective. So, all right, guys, let's get into your coaching. Here's one of the things I want to do. For the first 30 days, I wanted you to pick and let's talk through two topics that matter to you that you could do once a week to make content. So, we just talked about the drills. Do you feel like the drills could be, and if you don't like the drills, we can go on to something else. This is your brand. It seems to me that you would need something that you could do that's not going to require a bunch of production, probably maybe not speaking at first, right? So you get comfortable. What kind of content do you think that you could carry for maybe doing a content capture once a week and publishing twice per week?
Yeah, I mean, I think like drilling that aspect should be pretty easy. Just being able to set up a camera and just like do what I normally do shouldn't be a problem. So that would definitely be my first choice.
And what you could do while you're home, if you have a family member or someone else there, they could record for you. The one thing a lot of student athletes do is they actually hold the camera for each other sometimes, or they have somebody, right, like a team manager, or or maybe someone else on your team. Although tennis teams are relatively small compared to some of the more larger Olympic sports like track with 100 plus people, but I think drills could be an option for you. What would be your second category? I gave the talking videos, but the day in the lives are great. They do take a little bit of production on the back end. I try to always be real with people. What would be your second option, do you think, that you could start doing content wise?
I mean, maybe like a mix of something like I would maybe be more comfortable doing like a voiceover over something,
Okay.
or I just feel like I need to be doing something if I am talking in a video.
Sure. So you mean like you could record some clips and then just record right on your phone the audio to it and then just track it, like sync them up.
Yeah, like something like that.
Okay, cool. So I have those down, drill videos and doing some. What would those be over? Would it be just like what's going on for the week, like a recap of the week? You could even take photos and string photos together and then just characterize like your week this week. Like what was your week this week like so far? Just tell me in your own words.
Yeah, I mean, this week I came back from Arkansas. I drove about 5.5 hours, and then um yesterday I went to practice at 7 a.m., went to the gym, and then practiced again in the afternoon. And then I actually went to a USTA, um, kinda it was for the Asian American month and did like a clinic there.
Please tell
So,
me you have photos. Please, please. For
oh, I do
everything's
have
sake.
photos, yeah.
You did.
I do, yeah.
The content God's lowercase g love me. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that was my day yesterday, and then this morning it was similar.
Any
Similar.
notable pictures while you're there? Not trying to give away your content, but just is there any notable
I
people
mean, I
just
have some pictures, yeah, like with Vanya King was
wait,
the
you
main
gotta talk
host.
about former pro, one of the
Yeah,
greats.
exactly.
What? Okay. I see you. See,
Yep.
she's low key with it, y'all. See, she's low key with it. That's the ice in the veins. Um, and then you had practice today.
Yep, practice today,
So what
and
did you hear?
that's about
I
it.
I, I know what I heard content wise. What did you hear from your own week?
Um, basically the Asian American clinic with Vanya King. That could suffice for the week, I guess.
That's you could definitely put that out as its own individual post if you have photos. I also think just a light lift. If you think about it, if you happen to have photos of any of those things, you could just talk through your week, and then instead of doing like a video, it's a little bit more heavy lift. You could put photos together for your week and just do a weekly recap, and then just always be taking photos to document it, which is super simple.
Yeah.
Like, hey guys, this was my week. I traveled back from Bentonville, Arkansas, hooked up with my old coach, went with my family. We traveled back down. It was a 5 hour drive. I figured out how to hydrate. One of my favorite drinks is fill in the blank. And we had to get back. We got back in town and we went to this really cool event. It was an Asian American fill in. What was it called?
Actually don't know the exact name. It's Asian American Pacific Island. Um,
AAPI, Pacific Islands, yeah.
yes.
I went to you could say it all out, but I'm just gonna say AAPI to make it sound smoother when I say it. Went to an event and ran into one of the pro athletes that I always have loved and whatever's authentic to you. And she played for like what 12 years. I can't remember exactly. It was something like that. And she won X number of majors. And we got to talk. And that was such a huge moment because she's had the career that I am longing for. And then you know what? That was great, but you know what? The bills have to be paid every day. So 7 a.m. I was back up at it. All right,
Yep.
y'all. That is my week this week. Join me next week and I'm gonna ride it out. How does that sound?
Yep, sounds good.
And you have my phone numbers. You can text me. Like that's literally, and you just put photos over the top. Like storytell. Like, why would people care? Every time you post something, guys, you need to ask this question. I learned this when I was in journalism. I was a digital journalist. My first editor used to ask me this question all the time. You guys would love him. He's your typical news guy. He had like a plaid shirt, a sweater, no matter what time of year. He would be outside smoking his smoke break, and we know smoke is not popular, but that's just he was that guy. And he would just, you tell him a story idea, and he'd go, why should I care? And that was always the question that you're asking yourself. Why should someone care? So see, yours is you were traveling. Why? You went back to your old coach. Then you had to get back to this event. Why should people care? Well, I ran into somebody who's like dope, who I really thought was really cool, da 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 da. And then I was back to the thing that I love, this thing that gets me up out of bed. I don't even need an alarm, and I get to do what I do every day. So, do you think somebody would care about that?
I mean, yeah, I think some people would.
So that's our thing too. I think your thing. So let's just call that just like your weekly recap. Just take a photo, right? So if you took a photo in Bentonville with your coach, if you took some photos along the way with you by yourself, with your family on the way for the trip, take every time you're somewhere, try to take 3 to 5 photos, and you'll be straight. So those, how do you think? That's two for y'all. 2 items. Would that work? All right, here's our here that's our 30-day goal is to pick 2 topics and start by showing them one time per week in the first 30 days. So start off with maybe the drills. Can we do that starting? Do you know the best time to start working out, Alanis?
To start working out?
For anybody.
Nope.
It was yesterday, but yesterday's
Tomorrow?
gone. It was yesterday, but yesterday's gone. So all we got is today. So today is the first time to start. So let's get started with our drills. Today's Wednesday, Saturday. Like let's like don't wait. Like let's just get into it. So and then give yourself 2 more weeks and add in the weekly recaps, which should be fun, right? Like this is also like you showing people your personality, who you are, and just document. It doesn't have to be exciting. It just has to be yours. Thing two, 60 days. Start DMing brands you already use and you would and show love before you ask. Most people don't do this. Like I send them to people all the time. I DM athletes, I DM people that I like, and just like a lot of times, people I've had on the show, like I just love what they're doing. I'm like, yo, I really love what you're doing. And they sometimes people respond. Some people like, man, I love what you're doing. I'd love to come on the show. Boom, let's do it. Like, but for you, like, what are the brands? Like, let's just go through a quick list. Give me your top 5 brands that you use in tennis as an athlete.
Gatorade,
So Gatorade, okay.
um, charge gel,
What's that? What is that?
which is like a energy. It's kind of like a almost like a jelly type thing.
Okay.
Um, I mean, what else? I have my rackets.
Rackets. Oh, are you kidding me? There's a lot of money in rackets. Rackets. Do you use any sort of a wrap or anything?
Yonex.
So your wrap. What else do you use? Any headbands? I'm just going through all items. I haven't seen you in them, but I'm just saying, do you use any bands at all?
Um, bands like what type
Or
of bands are we talking?
so first of all, let's start with do you use any just like headband, wristband, any of those
Yeah,
kind of
I do use wristbands, but I use I mean what I'm sponsored with.
that's perfect actually. No, this is
Yeah.
great. Yeah. Okay, I'm right. See, I'm writing this down. Y'all think I'm crazy. I'm literally writing these notes down. Her plan's gonna be done when we get off this call. So, what other things do you do? Any type of a smoothie? Do you go to a smoothie place in Raleigh? Don't have to say the name. Do you go to a smoothie place?
Um, I mean, yeah, I do every once in a while.
Okay. Well, when you do, that's a DM, right?
Yeah.
That's the no, I'm just saying there's an Kennedy Webb. I talk about her all the time. She's on the show. She ended up posting about the smoothies literally after practice, and then she started posting them. She has an NIL deal now. I can't get into details because that's her personal business, but she has an NIL deal with a local smoothie place, right? She likes them. All right. Let's keep going. So we've got Gatorade, the charge gel, rackets, wrap, bands, by your sponsor, and a smoothie locally sometimes. Anything else?
Um,
Is there any products? And you don't have to name your products right now, but I mean, you could just DM them, like really, like, hey, I love, I would just talk about them and DM the sponsor before you're not asking, you're just telling them that you love the product and why.
yeah. I mean, you can do like hair product, like face product,
Nice.
jewelry, pretty much
Yeah.
everything.
So what I would just do, I'm really big about getting started. Alanis. So what I would do is just go to a note screen. I'm literally in the Apple note screen or whatever. For goodness sake, if you have a Samsung, whew, you're messing up some people's group chats, but we're not going to get on that. Do you have an Apple or something else?
I have an Apple phone, yeah.
Right. So it comes with the note screen. You could just put a list of these and then just try to start out 60 days from right now. So that's June, July. In July, start by that time DMing twice a week to products you're already using. And if you don't know how to do it, I'm gonna give you guys a quick tip. Watch this. I'm just gonna do this. Do you have Chat GPT?
I do, yes.
Yeah. I would just go audio mode. Hey, my name is so actually I'm doing a podcast with Alanis Hamilton from UNC Chapel Hill, All American, and she actually is really getting started, wants to develop brand deals, and she wants to start reaching out to brands and DMing them. She's never done it before. She needs help. Can you just write out like a template that she could write for some of the brands she does, apparels and different products? Can you just give me like 3 to 4 templates that that she can DM and I'll just share them with her? Thanks, ChatGPT. See how I did this? Watch it's so now it's going. We're gonna give so for you guys, AI is your friend. Here are 3 to 4 DM templates. Number one, hi, I'm Alanis Hamilton, a UNC All American, and I love what you're building. I just started my journey into brand partnership. I'd love to connect with you about ways we might work together. Let me know who I should reach out to. It has like 5 templates it made that quickly.
Yeah. I
Copy
love
that.
ChatGPT.
Let's go.
Helpful.
Let's go. Let's go. So you could just do that. You're probably better than that. And then your 90-day goal, really quickly as we wrap, is launching your own signature series. So here's what you're gonna do. The signature series, um, it could be you could try it a little bit on some of the drills or some of the other things you like. But here's the thing I want you to do. Stop paying attention to other people. Don't give any, I'm trying not to use any foul language here. It's a family show. Don't give any craps about what other people think. Because the thing is, you're only going to learn by doing. You have to make mistakes. You're going to do some stuff. You're not going to love it. It's not going to look like, the UNC stuff because they do a great job. Shout out to UNC Chapel Hill and folks on staff. I know a lot of people there. Don't worry about that. Just do you. Just like when you started playing tennis, right? When you first started playing, did you make a lot of mistakes?
Yep.
And that's the thing. You have to this game, the thing that you guys hopefully learned tonight is having success on the court does not equal off the court success. So you have to put all that aside. Don't worry about what people think. And I want you to do this. I want you to go look at 2 people. Kai Sanat has his first video out there. This guy is the second biggest streamer in the world behind I Show Speed, and he has no problem because here's the thing a lot of you guys are missing. There's an arc to the story, right? So if you like any superhero, Batman, Superman, think about it. There's someone who has a great talent, right? And then they run into a problem that keeps them from achieving their dream. Then they overcome the obstacle and they become great. That's the arc of every great story. Michael Jordan missed his squad right in high school. How many times do you hear about that? The flu story. Tom Brady, 177. So some of you guys are out here trying to start with perfection and it's killing the vibe. It's killing your energy. It's killing your self-confidence. Man, forget all that. Do you. Don't care if anybody laughs at you, if they think it's the worst thing, because the only way you can get your authentic story is just by getting reps. So I turn to you, the perfectionist in you, right? We know the Olympic sports. I come from it. It's a perfectionist sport. If you ever watch gymnastics, and I used to cover some of the Olympic sports as a digital news reporter or sports reporter. Talk to me about that. Is that how difficult will that be? Because I do know that there's a perfectionist angle to tennis and many of the Olympic sports. So let's just get real for a moment. Let's talk about what's really going on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's definitely doable, but gonna be pretty difficult as far as like being comfortable with publishing certain stuff and just the consistency as well.
What do you think it is? Is it fear of failure? Is it fear of what people will think?
Uh, Probably a mix of both.
Okay. Okay. And this is what made one, if you guys follow me online and you follow this is why I talk so much. I always say this to you guys, and this is why content is a self journey. I always say this, like when you start creating content, you almost have to start falling in love with yourself all over again. Right. Because what happens is the naked real you starts coming out, right? Like you're going to do it. You're going to have flubs. Like I put out bloopers like once a week, just like I was on with Reagan Lance and I never usually messed up that much. And I did like 2 busts, like where I was talking and I said she was a basketball player and she's a volleyball player. And so I put them out and I like, people are like, they loved it. And here is the thing that I'm telling you guys, the challenge to trying to go for perfection is you're not going to figure out what hits, what works until you just put it out there. Because sometimes you spend all this time. I know I've done this. I've talked to some of the top content creators in the world, same experience. You go through, you put all this time, you spend a couple hours, you create this video, and you're like, man, this thing is gonna take off, this thing's gonna go viral. And it does, meh, just okay. And then the one that you didn't think, like for example, I did a live stream with Dejan Manning. Shout out to Dejan, just graduated from Kent State track and field. He came on the show and we did like a 3-hour live stream, longest live stream I've ever done. Thought I was gonna die, y'all, at the end because you can't use the bathroom hardly. We ended up doing this take. We just did this was last week, and it was a take between who would win a 40-yard dash between Usain Bolt and and in primetime Deion Sanders. Well, we put it out. I didn't think much of it, right? It's just a take. I took primetime because a lot of people don't know he was actually ACC champion at Florida State at 100, 200 meters, and he won the 4x1, and he ended up winning baseball and those championships. He's the only person in ACC history to win 2 separate titles on the same day in the same season. So I'm talking about this. I'm literally going through it. This thing goes off. Like people are like, bro, you don't understand track speed, right? and it was just a clip that I didn't think was gonna go. And then all of a sudden we have all these people that have all these strong opinions. And it was like I'm dying. I'm like messing with people like, yeah, but this Bolt have, I ran track, but I don't say that in the video. But it's like, but does Bolt have 20 pounds worth of pads on? It just people go crazy. Right. Then I go, well, hey, let me ask you this. Have you ever seen Primetime run down after a pick 6? You don't see that highlight. So does that make sense? Like, I think one of the things that you're going to learn is just how to be yourself, how to talk to people. And I think one of the great things, though, Lance, that I want you to really lean into is that you control what goes out. So you could take a bunch of takes.
True.
So,
That's a
all
good
right,
point.
here's what we've got. We've got what is your big thing? So here's what we got as we wrap up. We have your 2 topics that you're going to focus on, your drills and just lessons that you have. The other things you're going to do is your 60-day goal is to DM twice a week your top 25 brands. What I want you to do one time sitting on your couch, laying on your couch, is just go through your bag, look around, and just make a list of all of those. And then when you get there, start DMing them. And then by 90 days, which is this is right, May, like I'm realistic. So June, July, we're talking August when you go back to school ish, start having a like a YouTube Shorts, IG Live specific series that you can lay your hat on. How does that sound?
Sounds like a plan.
All right. So I think what we've got is I think if you consistently create content, if you comment on other people's content, like every day, try to do 1 to 2 comments per day on Instagram. I know you're big on there. You could do Instagram stories and you could do 1 post every day, like just boom, boom, boom. Why, if you're on the app. And I think what you're going to see it is just being consistent is going to make your content take off. I think that's the biggest thing. Most athletes today and content creators are just not getting enough reps. And that's really the difference between you and someone who has 50,000 followers.
Makes
So
sense.
you've been on the hot seat. Anything else you want to ask me as we wrap up here?
Not that I can really think of.
Okay. So one of the things I want everybody to know, I think everybody folks, so we didn't spend a bunch of time talking about brands because most people, um, you really need to generate a certain amount of content to really be effective to a brand. What's going to happen, guys, if your parents, we have some parents on the show, you're going to get, let's say, an apparel brand. Say, hey, Lance, can you create it? Then you're going to need to be able to go out, create said content on the timeline that they've got. And then what you're going to find is that you need to deliver back to them what they asked for and what's called a creative brief. I know you'd already know this. So one of the things I think that'll happen for you is if you focus on scaling up and creating a community that you deliver content that helps them. I think you're going to really be able to get some local deals. You're going to be able to get national deals, put together, some bundled services of things that you can do, whether it's like doing birthday shout outs, specific content, and then you can use your influence to build an incredible brand.
Yeah, it all sounds really great.
All right, you guys don't know this. I have her cell phone number. So Saturday, we're gonna get it started, man. I really appreciate it. What's your take? I know you're on the journey. Here's a great thing, you guys. About first of all, shout out to you again. Shout out to the chat for showing up. One of the great things is you're gonna have clips out of this show. So here is the great news. Some of the things we're talking about, we're going to chop up from this show some of these answers. Remember, we talked about your story. How did you start? You have the All American clip that you talking about what it meant to you. You're going to come out of this show with momentum. So here's the great thing, you're not starting at zero. How does that make you feel that you don't think about this? You don't have to think at first for the next several weeks because you're going to generally literally have enough content out of the show. And these are things that are like focused on you, not just you and I in the frame, but like you talking about what it meant to win, being named All-American, and you're going to be able to run over the next several weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it feels pretty good to know I have a little bit of a cushion underneath me right now. So feeling a little bit better.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on. And one of the things I hope you and everyone else watching, if you don't own your story, someone else will. And you are proof that what you can do on the court is totally possible off the court. I really wish you the best and the greatest amount of success this summer and into the fall as you continue at UNC Chapel Hill.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. This show was powered by Hicks Sports and Entertainment. We're a platform that really helps creators, athletes, and dreamers own their story. If you're building something real, we got you. Before we get out of here, give us your social media handles, because if you're on this call right now, we have people still on here. The biggest thing that everybody could do right now is pull out their phones while we're talking and go follow you and then engage, like, comment all the things that you're posting. So where can people find you?
I post most of my stuff on Instagram at Alanis Hamilton. So
Perfect. All over Instagram. All right, you guys. I'm Jay Hicks again. You can find me, Jay Hicks Official and Brand&Athlete spelled out all over social media. I have the distinct honor of talking to one of the truly great sports brands that's a rising star. I really think that you're going to go on and do amazing things on and off the court. I'm just a cell phone away, a DM away as you're on this journey. And I want to circle back with you in several months, in like 6 months, to just pull up and like, how's it going?
yeah, sounds awesome.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. And thank you so much for joining Just Chat. Until next time, I'm Jay Hicks, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.